What happened, Adrian?
I feel a bit bad, I would say, because of G-forceless. It was crazy.
It was insane.
My stomach wasn't ready for that.
I was not ready for this. Like usually we're thinking, okay, first laps, guided tour, cruising, whatever. We're not gonna put GoPros on because it's going to be easy. Send. What the Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Spa, because already yesterday you have seen the video of me driving the GT3 RS, the 992 model. And the reason that we have this opportunity, we are here actually with Porsche Experience. So we have 3 days of full driving, an actual masterclass where we get completely nerded out with ins and outs about aerodynamic features, about the settings that you get on the steering wheel. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and actually this is something that we wanted also to show to you, how it goes in its work, how these 3 days are happening. And to be honest, at the same time, you know, we are busy with making content, but I was also trying to really soak up the information and enjoy as a driver and get all the information, because this car is a very important car for the channel. Not that I have one on order, but there will be lots of laps and features with this car in the coming years, and at some point also the Monday Performance Kit model, and at some point also Point 2 model, etc, etc. That's why I was more focused on actually driving the car, but we shot a lot of content to show you how these 3 days go in the work. So as the guys are going on the track, let us walk you through what we've been doing here for the last 3 days in Spa-Francorchamps. Lots and lots of track action, but as mentioned, the event is 3 days long, and on the first day, which happened actually yesterday at the moment of recording of this video, we arrived, we got to know the car details, the horsepower amount, of course the gearbox, and most importantly the downforce figure. Also the head chief engineer, the most important person of the downforce department, told us all the secret features about everything, how they increased the front downforce by 40 kilograms by changing the profile of the wishbones in comparison to the regular GT3. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Of course, we had also Jörg Bergmeister, who drove the lap time on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, who did a phenomenal 6 minutes 49, and he actually told us that when he was there on the day itself, he was there with Andy Preuninger, and before that he did 6 minutes 50.7. And actually they were already quite happy, and then Jörg came to Andy and said, "Can I go one more time? I believe we can go sub 650. But don't be mad at me if the car does not come back." After hearing this, I got a lot more respect for Jörg, because to put essentially his life on the risk for something that we all love doing as a car guy, and it's quite an impressive feature, yes. So, and of course we also got to hang out with Mark Webber. He gave his inputs mostly about the track, also about the car. And we had fantastic reception when it comes to catering, because food is very important, as you know. One side note, I thought that the first day was also going to be driving, and in the briefing it said you're only allowed to have like long sleeve shirt. So I was there like completely in my race underwear and everything, but it was like completely unnecessary because first day was not driving. So luckily I didn't go full race suit, because that would have been quite embarrassing. Anyway, all the funny comments about fashion aside, we're now here on the second day where everything is really about driving. But before we could drive this, we actually had a track walk where we jumped in with our instructors in Porsche Taycans, and we followed Mark Webber, who was giving us like pointers, ins and outs. But while driving the car, we also stopped, of course, at the famous Eau Rouge, where he explained where the braking point, where the turn-in point is, and lots of other corners, because actually the track has been resurfaced last year, and it has lots of new details that were not there in the past, and also a couple of curbstones that are there quite challenging. So it was like very interesting. Also, for example, for people who want to come here drive in the future, it's priceless feedback or piece of information you can get from a Formula One legend himself, and of course also from Jörg Bergmeister. And then was time to do actual driving. And I must say this is the point that really blew me away, because usually when I do these kinds of events, press drives, track events, when you first go out, you take it easy. Here, however, we went immediately full send. And the proof of that is the start of the video. Adrian has never gotten sick, ever before, with me driving on the ring with others, and now it was his world premiere of Adrian getting sick in the car, because the amount of downforces that you get through this car is just phenomenal. It's crazy, it's indescribable. And that was immediately the first impression. I think maybe he has it on camera when I'm just like, holy wild. Like the car, the way it handles immediately out of the box, you feel so safe, and then you taking the corners that you never thought was possible with the street car, and then the instructor says like, yeah, we take it easy, we go a bit more faster the next time because we still have a lot more limit, we're not optimizing the full downforce effect. What the actual fuck? Like, Porsche, what have you built? It's a bit like really mind-blowing. So we did that, we had 2 sessions, and now actually at this point of the video we are going to be doing with ghost laps, where I'll be in front and the instructor will be behind me and telling me what to do and what not to do. One important thing that I want to say, this is something that everyone can do, whoever can actually afford it, of course, because it is pricey, but when you know how these things works, it's actually cheap. I'm 100% sure that Porsche is making a loss on this, because the price for all these 3 days is 15,000 euros. Now you're gonna say, oh my god, I can buy a car for that amount. Of course, go for it. But when you compare how much you would pay to rent a GT3 RS, like there is only currently one company that does it, RSR, Nürburgring or Spa, so you can give a shout out to them for free, because they're the only ones doing it. And I checked on the website and it cost I think 13,500 euros for 600 kilometers, and that's car alone with fuel. You still need to pay for the track, for the instructors, for the catering, for everything else. If you wreck their car, you'll have to pay more than 100, I think maybe even more than 150,000 euros. With this, we signed the access that we're liable for only 20,000 euros. On the Nürburgring, with all the rental companies, whether it's Apex or everyone else, you pay more for crashing a Volkswagen Golf, well no, let's say BMW M4. So again, this is, when you take everything into consideration, this is very affordable. And you could say I would rather buy a 992 GT3 RS myself and drive it. Go for it! I'm sure the running costs are going to be higher. And speaking of which, this is also again an exercise for the future owners to show them what the car can do, if they are like on the edge right now of buying one, or they actually have one, to really give them a masterclass of what the car can do by driving an absolute limit. Again, I'm really impressed by the way instructors are trusting with everyone. They're not babying around. I never seen, it's more like a racing experience. I really have not seen this type of encouraging behavior from other brands, events, etc., etc. So enough talking for this part of the video. We're gonna hop in here and do a bit more driving, and then I'm gonna give you a bit more background information, I would say. Unfortunately, got a stone chip because one of the cars threw a rock at me, and now the car is being taken away to be completely replaced. And that is one of the most wonderful things about this Porsche experience. If something is happening, something goes wrong, they have so many GT3 RSs here that they can just simply replace. Right, quickly updated what has happened. We had the shadow driving, where I was driving in the front and the instructor was driving behind and following the lines. And afterwards we did also very extensive data analysis with video that he told us what we were doing, what he was doing. You could exactly see his ideal line versus my not so ideal line, or extremely horrible, or sometimes extremely good or decent, and gave us lots of pointers. Very interesting part for me was also the fact is that he explained so-called V-line. And that is something that I noticed the very first time when I went out in a GT2 RS MR last year, is when Christoph Breuer and also Lars Kern later, when I was going out with him into Kallenhardt or into Steißstrecke, you don't stay completely left, but you actually start braking towards the apex, and I'm like, that's a weird line. But that's apparently something that you can do with the rear-engined car with Porsche, and it worked amazingly. Now I understand now. So next time I'll be driving in 992, I'll probably try it out myself in Kallenhardt and etc. But no, what I want to say is this was extremely helpful, that to get actually your perception right and your track positioning. Now on top, later it got even better because we got a taxi lap from Jörg Bergmeister himself, the test and development and driver and brand ambassador, and what else is he not? Nürburgring lap time setter, of course, with GT4 RS and GT3 RS, this car. Mind-blowing, because of course he knows the car in and out, because he helped to engineer it, and wow, that was again one of the highlights. So I don't know, this is like, this event is a gift that keeps on giving, and this is only the second day. I think now fast forward to another food shot, because the catering is probably like just as good as the cars, cannot say better, because Porsche is perfection and everything in the kitchen is just cherry on top, I guess. So fast forward to some food shots, and then tomorrow we have another day of driving, and they say it might snow. So we'll see what's gonna happen. So let's go get some snacks. Love this fantastic flat 6.4 liter sound. Right, fast forward to the next part of this video. For us, the second day, and I must say we're finishing off with probably, well, saving the best for the last. They started with us, Adrian and I, going out for some warm-up laps together also with our instructor and the second driver. By the way, you are allowed to take a companion with you. It could be your camera guy, it could be your best friend. Someone is having his daughter here with him, which is amazing. I hope in 20 years I'll be fortunate enough to take my kids to these kinds of events. Hopefully we'll still be able to enjoy these kinds of engine noises, but Porsche is working on e-fuel, so I'm sure we'll be able to do that. Apart from companions, like I said, another driver with the instructor. You are driving here with only 2 people and 1 instructor. You actually pretty much have individual coaching, and there is an option to be completely one-on-one, but at this point it was actually better to this because you're kind of learning from each other's like improvements and mistakes, and this was amazing setup. Like, you have pretty much individual coaching, which is great. After the morning sessions, one of the best parts happened here because it started to rain. And this is when the car comes alive. This is something you've seen in yesterday's video. This was for me the best part. I was hoping that it would rain the whole day, but it didn't. Nevertheless, it was still fun. But the wet part, to feel how the car handles differently, how you change the settings from the compression and rebound suspension, the differential settings, traction control. My God, this was fantastic. Had lunch. Maggie visited us, by the way, just to say a quick hello, took some nice pictures. Speaking of pictures, we have a photographer here who's taking lots of shots. Hopefully we'll insert some of them here, do lots of posing, making sure that we have a fitting shirt to the car. Now, the best, probably completely unexpected part was to the second half of the day. We did one session then all of a sudden Mark Webber shows up. We've seen him already before, but he's like, I would like to take a look at your laps, at your data. And he looked at the things that were doing good, and also, of course, things. Love the noise. Hope you can hear it because it's a directional mic. He looked at things where we can improve.
That's a nice line, mate.
Thank you.
Nice line. Try to under brake and just carry a little bit more speed in and not let, because then you have to go, because you are good enough to realise, oh, actually I'm probably sniff slow, and then boom, you're back on the power. So just carry that little bit more speed in, and then you don't have to bring the power in so early, you know what I mean? 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the time, focus on...
And in my case, it was the position of a rouge, and namely braking. Now, braking, I'll be honest with you, as mentioned, 20,000 euros excess. I would rather be very safe and then let go and go on the brake again and turn in. But then Mark said, like, come on, mate, you can do a bit better. I'm like, if Mark says so, we should do it. Went out again. My instructor started to analyze the data. Mark shows up again, like, okay, let's have a look if you did your homework.
Anything you want to comment?
No, I think still our rouge, we need to get a bit more.
Yeah, more to the left.
Yeah.
I can see that on that one.
Omar, time to see
yours. Thank you so much.
Of course, mate.
Really appreciate it.
Well, just keep working on it.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll have one more session. So.
It's good that he's listening.
Yeah. No, that's the most important.
You can see you're just moving the pulsing of the brake.
Yeah.
If you just get in a sniff deeper, that will have to go because you don't have the luxury of doing the pulsing, and then you can, once you get to the apex, and then it's that transition of finishing braking back into power.
Yeah. I'm like, and then he was actually quite happy. I must say it cost me almost a couple of moments to actually find the braking limit in a couple of sections. What was that? I guess that's my time to cool down and that's it. But it felt so much smoother, but then I decided like that's kind of it. And speaking of which, I think that's the end of this video. We have one more session to go. I'm gonna stop filming and actually enjoy myself, because at the end of the day, this is what this event is about. Not only to get the experience, the new 992 GT3 RS, actually to master it, but most importantly, to enjoy ourselves. And this is what I will be doing. And finally, massive thank you to Porsche Track Experience team for inviting us over so we could also share the journey with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that we'll be able to do a couple of more events. Porsche, if you're watching, I have a couple of things on my wish list. So 992 GT3 RS on the Nordschleife, and a cup car, wherever I want to experience the cup car. I have the opportunity already to like pay and drive, you know, for a seat for VLN. Even I got an invite for a 24-hour race to do one. Quite a lot of money, but the opportunity is there. But to actually do it in this same setting, like today, with top instructors telling you what to do, what not to do, that gives you like, putting you way ahead of the curve and hitting the apex or something. I don't know. Well, I gotta focus on driving. Okay, that's it. It starts to rain again a bit, but we have blue skies, so maybe we'll have one more white session. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.